Hello everyone, welcome back to the workshop. So this is the second video I'm making about the mash. I promised a video ages ago, but I've had so many things going on I haven't had time. Holidays, what can I say? So today the plan is to fit this to the fork legs of the mash and remove the hopelessly inadequate plastic mudguard at the front. So I ordered a couple of these off of the interweb, 52mm clamps. They are intended for steering dampers, but I thought, well, actually I could stick one of those on each fork leg, and then I'm going to cut a strip of aluminium from this plate. This is 3mm aluminium plate. I bought 3mm and 4mm because I wasn't sure which would be adequate, but 3mm is perfectly adequate. So the plan is cut a strip of aluminium, take the plastic off, anneal the aluminium so that I can bend it into the same arc as the mudguard, and then put the clamps on. I've already tested the clamp, it works brilliantly. There's a couple of M8 screws that I had in my stainless steel screw box, and then attach that to the clamps, and then get this in the right position, drill a couple of holes, and tap the aluminium arch that I'm going to make to accept a thread, and then we should be done. So I'll let you know how I get on. So what have we achieved? So I've created the bracket. It's not perfect, but I'm not a metal worker, and I think it's okay. It fits into the mudguard pretty well. With hindsight, I suppose, or maybe I'll do it again, what I could have done is had it going the full curve of the mudguard and having these turned in the other way, so the whole thing, and they'd have to come in. I did them this way because, well, A, it's easier, and B, I hadn't thought of that. So just being honest with you, so that goes in there like that. The next step is to put this onto here, and there's the brackets on the fork legs, and then once that's on there and it's screwed down, and obviously these can be adjusted, then I can put this on there and drill some holes, and we'll see what it looks like. So this is the finished product. I don't know what anyone thinks. My views are, I think the brackets look a bit clunky, but I also think that it's almost like if you bought a pair of fluorescent green trainers and wore them for the first time, you would notice them all the time in your peripheral vision, but after a while you stop seeing them, and I think that may be the case with these brackets, but we shall see. I mean, I've positioned the mudguard in such a way that it's lower than the bash guard, and so I'm hoping that less crap gets thrown up in this area here, but we shall see. So the other thing that has changed on the bike since the first video is the front suspension. I've had the forks rebuilt with K-Tech springs, linear springs rather than progressive, and also there's I've had what's called an emulator fitted, an emulator valve, which is the valve that sits at the bottom of the fork leg and allows the fork oil to pass through it. Now, by fitting the emulator and slightly thicker oil, you have the same effect, or a similar effect, to having compression and rebound damping adjustment. So obviously it can be adjusted only by changing the oil, but the way it's been set up for me, it's completely changed the front end. The suspension on the bike now is absolutely superb. It's a real pleasure to ride it. Now, let me put you up there. I think it's also worth saying that having read some of the comments on my first video, and by the way, thank you very much for all the comments, and also for the amount of views. I'm staggered with the amount of views that have been that I've had on that video, and also talking to other people. It seems that people are buying this bike, you know, the X650 Classic, and probably the Scrambler too, and I'm wondering whether they're really approaching buying a MASH with the right mindset. When I watch videos on YouTube, which I do regularly, of new bikes, I often watch Motorcycle News in the UK, Michael Neves, who's I think is a good reviewer, and he will test ride a 9, 10, 12,000 pound bike and he'll say, well, obviously, you know, the end can, you know, looks hideous, so you need to replace that. And that's a normal part of biking, is that the end can gets replaced, and of course the suspension is largely crap, so it'd be worth splashing out on a new rear shock. And these are bikes that cost double the amount that I paid for this. I paid 5,750 quid for this. The changes I've made to the bike are largely cosmetic. You know, I didn't need to change the colour of the bike. I didn't need to polish the exhaust. You know, I didn't need to change the handlebars particularly. I mean, I did it because I just think this chrome handlebars look good. As with most bikes, the things that you really need to change are the suspension, and this bike is no exception. You know, I mean, the stock shock on the rear was made from pig iron. I mean, it was just the worst thing, and I clearly needed to weigh about, you know, 250 pounds in order to make it work properly, which I clearly don't. In terms of cost, the rear shock was about 325 pounds, and it cost about 200 pounds ish to sort out the fork legs. I do have, where are they? I did buy a fork leg cap with an adjustment in, because a preload adjustment, because there is no preload adjustment on these forks. But unfortunately, the thread is the wrong thread for these forks. Now, as it turns out, without this, it still works well. You know, I'm very happy with the suspension as it is. I might go to the trouble of having this recut, the thread recut on this, in order to fit those, but I think I'm probably not going to bother. But the point really is that even if you spend double what I've spent on this bike to purchase it, the chances are the suspension's not going to be up to much, and therefore buying this bike as a single cylinder thumper that loves being revved, and anything between 2,750 and say 5,500 revs, you're riding a wave of torque. As a B-road scratcher, it's brilliant. It's not a scrambler. We all know it's not a scrambler. It's got 17-inch wheels, which are perfect as a supermoto, and that's what it's good at. Change the suspension, spend 500, 600 quid on the suspension, and you'll have a brilliant, brilliant bike. Obviously, as in my previous video, I've been blessed with an excellent dealer, which is Motorcycle Mart in Kidderminster. So if you don't live in England or near Kidderminster, I'm afraid you're going to have to find someone as an alternative. But I'll see how I feel about the front mudguard. I think it looks okay. It's polished up well, a bit of mother's polish on it, didn't do it any harm. The suspension is brilliant. The only thing I haven't done yet, which I am going to do, is I'm going to put some riv nuts in the rear swing arm. Well, the only swing arm, in fact, there is no other swing arm. And I'm going to put some bobbins on, because then I can use a paddock stand, and that makes life a hell of a lot easier for maintenance. So that's it. I probably will do another video. I'm also going to do a video on touring and why I tour in the way I tour. I hope that people will watch it. It's very much intended to make people realise I'm just an ordinary guy who happens to like riding a motorbike, and anyone can go touring if they want to. So that's the end of this one. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please give me a thumbs up and comment if you like. Tell me what you think about the front mudguard. If you think it looks hideous, you can say it looks hideous. That's okay. I've still got the old one, and I can take these off and you wouldn't even know that there'd been anything on the front. But for now, I'm going to leave it and see if I can get used to it. I like the look of it. I'm just not sure about the clunkiness of the brackets. So, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.